It's surprising news. As you say, he's been running the Atlanta Fed since 2017. He was the first African American and openly gay person to lead a regional Fed bank. So he was quite a figure on the policymaking scene. He was also, as you mentioned earlier, among those who was, more concerned about inflation, perhaps, and maybe was seen as something of an interest rate on the more hawkish side of things. He wasn't a voter this year, but obviously he was a key voice out there. Um, that's what we know so far. These details have just come out. He's just announced his retirement when his term ends. He does speak today. He's delivering a speech later, so perhaps he might be asking questions after that, where he will deliver some comments. We don't know more than that for now, but obviously we do know the backdrop is that there is ongoing political pressure on the Fed to lower interest rates. So we'll have to see if that's part of that story or not.
And of course, Bostic is one of 12 regional Fed presidents. All of the 12 regional Fed presidents have 5-year terms that end on February 28th, which means that they could be reappointed or something else could happen. So, Enda, we could see a completely different FOMC next year.
Well, we could. This is a talking point, and it's more than an academic talking point because of the political pressure on the Fed, explicit and public. President Trump and other officials in the White House want interest rates lower and much lower. And of course, we've seen the unique nature of the appointment of Governor Myron to the board, to the committee, given that he's merely taken leave of absence from his White House job. He hasn't left his White House role. So the political pressure is clearly there. And then that feeds into the idea that, wait a second, could this reappointment process of the regional Fed presidents be also pulled into this political mix in an effort to kind of get more policymakers who share the White House worldview, which is obviously one of lower interest rates? We're not there yet. We'll know more, and that will become clearer in the months ahead. But right here, right now, what we do know is policymakers are certainly divided over whether the bigger concern is the employment market weakening or whether it's sticky inflation.
And what is the process for appointing a new regional Fed president?
A regional Fed president is appointed by the regional Fed. They've got their own board of management. They've got their own process. It's not a congressional approved position. If you're appointed to the board here in DC, you have to go before Congress and get approval. The Fed is different. Their stakeholders include banks and the like. So they have their own process. The release announcing Mr. Bostic's retirement did say that they do have a first vice president, chief operating officer, who will step in as interim president if they haven't got a new leader appointed by the end of February. And given that we're now mid to late November, it's probably a tight timetable to see whether or not they can get someone new in there before that deadline is up.